Uncle Dan has been running an experiment with different iPads since the first iPad Pro was released in 2015. After almost a decade, he's ready to dispose of all of them and only keep one that he'll be using for his work going forward. But before he does that, we asked him to share his journey and findings that he documented so well. Hey guys, it's Robsy, back with Paperless X, a channel dedicated to easing your digital transformation. If you're new to our channel, hello. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know each time we release a new video. And if you're already subscribed, fantastic human, welcome back. The only iPad missing from his collection is the iPad Pro 2015, which he got rid of a few years ago. So on the table, he has the iPad 2018, which was the 6th generation iPad, the iPad Pro 2018, I use a similar one, the 4th generation iPad Pro, which is the 2020 iPad Pro, which came 2 years after the 2018, and now he has the 2022 M2 iPad Pro. Uncle Dan is responsible for video recording and editing our app reviews and courses on both Paperless X and Paperless Humans. He mostly does that in LumaFusion, so that's his most used everyday app. According to Uncle Dan, he bought the iPad Pro 2015 in April 2016. He considers an iPad unusable when LumaFusion starts to lag, that is, taking time to respond when he's moving, cutting, or viewing clips on the timeline. The iPad Pro 2015 only had 128 gig of memory, and it began showing signs of lag in January 2019. By May 2019, he couldn't use the device for editing anymore. It was completely unusable. Before switching to the 2018 iPad Pro, Uncle Dan considered the iPad 2018. His logic was that it was 3 years newer than the iPad Pro 2015 and cheaper. If it could work, he was willing to give it a shot. But unfortunately, as new as it was, the iPad simply didn't have the horsepower of a Pro. So he never used it and moved on to the iPad Pro 2018. To give it a longer lifespan, he got the 1 terabyte version of the 12.9-inch 2018 iPad Pro. It served him well for a while, but as our videos got longer, the iPad Pro 2018 became significantly slower in LumaFusion. Pushing to the 20-minute mark became a massive pain, and exporting was even a bigger pain. By December 2023, he couldn't keep using the iPad Pro 2018 for editing anymore. But he also didn't want to buy a new iPad Pro, so he got a really good deal from an in-law who had bought the 2020 iPad Pro back in 2021. The iPad Pro 2020 was as good as new, and it was perfect because of the 1 terabyte storage it had. Unfortunately though, for video editing, it was bad from the start, just like the experience he had with the 2018 iPad. That surprised all of us. The 2020 iPad Pro was a later version, 2 years newer than the 2018 iPad Pro. How did it have the exact same performance? That brought us to the software. We always keep all our devices up to date as a team, and so both the iPad Pro 2018 and the 2020 are running the latest version of iPadOS, and their performance is identical. The 1 terabyte of storage on both devices proved useless too, because even with at least 700 gigabytes of free storage, the lag was unbearable for editing. So, doesn't really matter how big of a storage your iPad has, they will all expire at the same time, which is quite disappointing. I've been using the iPad Pro 2018 for studying apps and taking notes on them since about the same time Uncle Dan got his 2018 iPad Pro. But I'm not experiencing the same problems because my work is not as demanding as his is. I mostly work in Noteful and Apple Notes. Definitely not as demanding, but Apple does advertise the iPad Pro as more powerful than some MacBooks, so no excuse there. With the 2022 iPad Pro, Uncle Dan has started yet another experiment, though he claims to be concluding this one. He just started a new one. This time around, it is based on what he's experienced with all his past iPads. Since he loves the touchscreen interface on the iPads, he will continue editing on the iPad. He also knows that Apple will slow down his device after 2 years based on the 2020 iPad Pro. If Apple releases a new iPad this year, then he's probably late to the party. And since a lot of storage won't save his iPad from the software lag, he's gone for the 512 gigabytes. At max, he uses about 300 gigabytes at a time. Do you think he's bought the right device, or is he going to be forced to change it as soon as Apple releases the next iPad Pro? For the Apple Pencil, he got the second generation Apple Pencil because it's the only Apple Pencil that makes sense for our work. The USB-C Apple Pencil is an especially terrible idea for digital note takers. You won't be able to use it in most, if not all, note-taking apps that launched after the first iPad Pro. And that will leave you stuck with subscription apps, and even they won't give you the perfect handwriting experience you will get if you're using the first and second generation Apple Pencils. We hope you guys liked this video and that you found it useful. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Thank you, Fantastic Human, for watching. See you in the next video.